Let's go now to the UFC lightweight champion, Benson Henderson. Benson, are you there?
Hey, I'm here, buddy.
I guess when you defend the title now, you can show up 30 minutes late to the show. What's going on?
I guess if you say that, or I'm at the airport running behind schedule as always.
Oh, that's okay.
Surprise for me.
I know your life is very hectic, so I appreciate you even stopping by while you are at the airport. I'm wondering, it's less than 48 hours since you fought that big fight at UFC 150. Have you watched the fight again?
I have not. No, I haven't had time. I don't even know how I would have watched it. So.
Well, I'm sure someone in the UFC or maybe illegally online, you wouldn't do something like that.
No, man. Last time I requested from my tweets for some links to some fights, and they were illegal downloads or uploads or whatever. I was given a stern warning not to do that again. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. My apologies, guys. So I know better now than to look up illegally downloaded fights.
At some point later on this week or next week, will you watch the fight? Are you the kind of guy who likes to watch your fights immediately after they're done?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll watch it. I watch it twice normally. Once for fun, just as a pure fan of MMA, just to be entertained, and then I watch it once to actually break down, see what the positives were, where the holes were, and that sort of stuff.
It was a super close fight. Some may say controversial. It seems like the majority of the MMA media scored it for Frankie, and I will admit, I'm not a guy who hides. I did score it for Frankie. What do you make of that?
That's cool. I appreciate your honesty, because I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of guys who all say, oh, well, everyone else had it for Frankie, but I had it for you. So right. I definitely appreciate your honesty. That's cool. I don't begrudge anybody their opinions. If they had it for Frankie, by all means, that's cool with me. I'm glad the three guys who were judging it had it for me.
You know what I love about you, especially in the last two fights? Like, we're all sitting there, and I'm looking at the tweets. I'm talking to other members of the media, and everyone says Frankie, right? And you're there, and you are as confident as can be. And when they even announce you as the winner, you are like, yeah, of course I won the fight. I thought that the whole time. I was just kind of waiting for Bruce Buffer to say, and still, and put the belt on me. How confident really were you that you had won that fight? I mean, was that all a front, or deep down, did you think that this was an obvious decision, you won that fight easily?
No, I definitely felt I did enough to earn the decision. I felt I definitely won, yes. Deep down in my heart of hearts, I definitely felt, yes, I won the decision. Of course, going into any decision in MMA, you have to be nervous. You have to be a little bit wary. Decisions are, notoriously iffy thing. But no, I for sure felt I did enough to get that W and earn my hand being raised.
After the fight, you didn't seem all that happy, though, with your performance. You said you weren't listening to your corner. Why were you unhappy?
I felt I didn't push the pace enough. The one thing I should have done more of, cause I didn't get tired at all during the fight. I wasn't gassed. I didn't have that that muscular fatigue where I was kind of worn down and tired. I felt I could have pushed the pace a lot more, and I did not for whatever reason. I can't say it was all me. It wasn't like I didn't do my job, and I didn't do this, I didn't do that. Obviously a big part of it goes to Frankie. He did a great job not allowing me to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to go in there and beat him up real bad and everything, and he didn't let me do that. It's not just me in there. There's another guy in there. I gotta take my hats off to Frankie. He's a tough fighter. One of the best fighters ever in rematches. One of the pound for pound guys on a lot of guys top 10 lists and top 5 lists and stuff like that.
Do you think you fought a better fight in the second fight, or do you like how you performed better in the first fight?
That's an interesting question. I think I liked the performance from the first fight maybe a little bit better. The second fight, I felt I did some things that we specifically worked on, those low calf kicks. I felt they did a really good job of that. And then Frankie did a great job of not allowing me to land those anymore after the first round or second round. They landed really well. I heard his legs were bruised up pretty bad, and he was limping the next day pretty bad. And during the fight, people said they could see it, have a dramatic effect on Frankie. That being said, he didn't allow me to go back to it. He kept the range and distance and stayed away from me to where I couldn't land it anymore. So. But, that's one thing I want to work on, one thing we specifically game planned to do, and I was able to do it. So, I was happy about that. Some other aspects of the second fight I was happy about, but I don't know. Overall, I wasn't thrilled with my performance in the rematch. I'll definitely take it. Somebody slips on a banana peel inside the cage and they slip and fall and bust themselves up. I'll take that W also.
What about Frankie? Was he tougher in the first fight or the second fight?
He was more elusive. Like I felt we didn't exchange as much in the second fight. I felt like a couple times either he wanted to exchange and I was like, nope, not so much, not going to happen. And I circled away, and then vice versa. I wanted to exchange a little bit. I wanted to throw down, and I was trying to get him to engage, and he backed away, and I couldn't get within reach of him. So I don't know. I think it was a big part of Frankie's game. All his fights are close. All his fights are controversial. Going back to his first BFN fight, almost every fight since then of his has been close and controversial, except for the one great man fight. But that being said, I gotta take my hats off to Frankie. He fought a good fight. Stayed elusive.
He dropped you early off the top of my head. I believe it was in the second round. How much did that hurt you?
Oh, it dropped me. It definitely dropped me pretty good. I had a bruise on my lip. I don't like to hit in the face, but I was able to clear the cobwebs almost immediately. As soon as I landed, I was clear. I saw him coming at me. I was like, oh darn, that wasn't good. And I was able to go to a single leg. So he did drop me, but I was clear-headed as soon as I landed. As soon as my butt touched the ground, I was clear-headed and able to see him coming towards me. I was thinking that was bad.
Does it annoy you? Does it bother you to hear people say that you didn't win the fight? Do you feel like it takes something away from the victory? Like, again, I was asking you this before the fight. Like, do you have to beat Frankie another time in order to really be the champion now? Since people don't think you won that fight, do you feel like you're the champion? What is your take? I'm always curious about a fighter's take when they find out that other people in the media, fans in general, didn't think they won the fight.
No, not really. It doesn't bother me at all. No. There are people out there who still think Michael Jordan wasn't the greatest basketball player ever. There are people out there who think the New England Patriots shouldn't have won this Super Bowl because of this rule. There's people out there who think the New York Giants suck and they should never won the Super Bowl. People out there who think, there are people out there with all sorts of opinions and ideas. And I always say I don't begrudge anybody their opinion. So you can think differently than me. It is okay. I'm cool with that. We don't have to see eye to eye and everything. If you felt I lost the fight, or if you felt what was it? The 83 Bears aren't the greatest football team ever, then, cool. It's okay with me. Thankfully the three guys who were judging the fights, thought the way I saw it. They had a pretty good view. They're sitting right there. They can hear everything. They can see everything. They can smell everything. They have a pretty good vantage point.
Are you happy that you no longer have to think about Frankie Edgar, at least for the foreseeable future? He's out of your life now.
I don't really care. For me, it was never like, oh, Frankie this, Frankie that, Frankie this, Frankie that. It's, he was my next opponent. He was the guy I was going to face next, and, next guy I was going to try and beat up. Now I have another guy to think about to beat up. So it doesn't really matter. Like, it's not like Frankie was a big nemesis of mine. Like, he's just another opponent, just another guy who's standing across the cage staring at me. I'm going to have a lot of those guys throughout my career. I intend on having a ton of them, That being said, it's nothing bad against Frankie. I don't have any ill will towards Frankie or nothing like that. He was just the guy sitting across from me.
I'm going to ask you about Nathan Diaz in a second if you started to think about him, but I think I know the answer to the question because in the cage during the fight, you were doing a little 209, my friend. You were trying to, you had the hands up. You were telling him, "Come on, let's go." That was very reminiscent of the Diaz brothers. Was that your way of telling
Nate? Man.
No,
don't say that about me. Don't say that about me. Don't connect me with 209 at all or anything.
Oh,
I was trying to, get going. I was trying to exchange a little bit. There have been other fighters who use that tactic as well. Lyoto does the whole hand thing. Anderson
right.
Silva does the whole hand thing. Me trying to be like any particular fighters from any particular area code is not the case. Not so much. It was just me, doing me out there, trying to stir some things up, trying to get going a little bit.
But by the way, what's the problem with being compared to the 209? It's a fine area code.
Oh, no problem at all.
Okay.
Look at you, you're always trying to answer you. Always trying to answer you. No, I have no problem with the 209. I love Nick and Nate Diaz. I love their fighting style. I love the way they fight.
Right.
I love the way they bring it. I love the way they come after you. They're not scared. They will throw down. And as a fighter, I like it. As a fan of MMA, I like it. I enjoy their fighting styles. It's just the whole being compared to other fighters and me trying to do this and copy this person, or me trying to do this person. As soon as you say it, there's already 15 guys, 20 guys writing about it. Oh yeah, you're right. Henderson was trying to do this, or yada, 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 whatever the case may be. But no, I'm not trying to copy anybody else. I'm not trying to do anything else. It's just me doing me. Same as Anderson Silva doing Anderson Silva. Lyoto doing Lyoto. Jose Aldo doing Jose Aldo. Just trying to be out there, trying to be creative, cause some things, stir some things up, and get myself going.
Okay, after the fight, Dana White told us that he and Lorenzo have already started to think about when this fight will happen. They have a good idea about it. They came up with some fun idea or something. He said something like that with a smile on his face. He wouldn't tell us what. Do you know what he's talking about?
I have no idea, man.
Oh, come on.
I'm not in the inner circle of the UFC upper brass.
It involves you. How could they not tell you?
There are some other champs out there who are in the inner circle. The inner circle of trust, as Robert De Niro puts it, but I'm not in that inner circle of trust, man. I'm just a good guy trying to do my job. I'm a company guy, man.
So wait, are you saying that you're not feeling the love from the UFC? Is that what you're saying?
Look at you again trying to instigate. Always trying to instigate.
That was a joke.
Never stop.
I was teeing you up there.
I'm not saying I don't feel love from the UFC. I got mad love from the UFC. I got love from the UFC. The biggest thing, a lot of people who aren't in the know of the UFC, there's so many people behind the scenes. Bert, Carrie, Melissa, all the people behind the scenes, Greg, there's so many guys behind the scenes, and I love those guys. So those guys always take care of me. They help me out. I call them. I got any sort of a problem, I hit them up. Brianna, who takes care of all the medical stuff, I email her at 1 a.m. She emails me back at 1:30. So I definitely got mad love from and for all the UFC people behind the scenes, and for the UFC top brass. Dana and Lorenzo have hooked me up plenty of times. Those discretionary bonuses. They've hooked me up plenty of times. They've taken very good care of me. So, no, Ariel, I'm not trying to say I don't feel love from the UFC top brass. But thank you for bringing that up and posing that question in that manner, though.
Well, I'm just trying to clear the air here, because people might think, based on your last answer, that you may have a problem, and now we've cleared it up, and now no one thinks you have a problem, so we're fine. But I'm wondering...
Well, I'm glad you did that for me. I'm glad you did that for me. Thank you.
I'm always looking out. It seemed like, from Dana's perspective, that you may fight on Fox in December. Do you like that idea, or would you rather fight on pay-per-view?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'd like to hear from the sponsors.
Yeah.
See what the sponsors think, if they like the pay-per-view better, or if they like the Fox card better. I imagine whichever one is better. And I guess imagine the time frame. I don't know what the time is for the Fox card or the pay-per-view card or anything like that.
Right.
Whichever time-wise, from my coaches, my head coach John Crouch, we're going to sit down and see what they say, and then we'll probably come back with the answer for them time-wise, what we're able to do. Would
you be ready to fight in December? Does that sound good to you, or do you want more time?
Actually, I'm not too sure. Again, there's another thing I got to talk about with my coach John Crouch.
Okay.
He's the one who kind of makes all the decisions. He sees how I'm feeling. Me being a fighter, like all fighters, after fight, I've been known to say before, hey, I'm ready to go right now. Let's do it. I'll fight tomorrow. Let's do it. Blah, blah, blah. And I am. I'm good. You and I want to go another 5 rounds, Ariel? You want to go 5 rounds with me tomorrow? I'm down for it. If they want me to do 5 rounds with Nate Diaz tomorrow, I'm down for it. They gave me a little, couple of pounds on the weight, but I'm ready to go 5 rounds tomorrow. That's just me being a fighter. But I understand. Trying to be smarter than that, trying to be aware. I do need to give my body time to rest, to heal up, to recover, and to proceed from there.
Okay, two last quick things, and then I'll let you go. First off, I just want to get your take on this. I gave my take on it. I said I don't think he should go down. He fought 2 close fights against you. I mean, what more can you ask from the guy, even though he's undersized? Why go down to 145? Just as a fan, as a guy who's been in there with him, do you think Frankie Edgar should go down to 145?
That is an interesting question. I think it's on how you pose the question. Some guys say Frankie needs to go down to 145. Frankie does not need to go down to 145, not at all. Does Frankie, as far as Frankie, should Frankie Edgar drop down to 145? That one I have a little bit harder time with. Should he? I don't necessarily feel like he should drop down to 145. Would it be more advantageous for him career-wise to drop down to 145? Maybe, maybe he was the belt holder at 55 for a while. Maybe he'd be the belt holder at 45 for a longer time in some of his fights. Wouldn't be as hard on his body. In the long run, us fighters, we have very short careers. Frankie, I don't know how old he is, how much longer he'll be fighting or intend on fighting. But for the sake of his body and being as healthy as possible, maybe fighting smaller guys will lengthen his career and make the quality of his career that he has left that much better for fighting, 145ers instead of 155ers. But who am I, to say? Not really my opinion one way or another. Just it is an interesting question to me. I think he would do well at 55 or 45. I think that he would have a higher quality career at 145 as far as health-wise and not getting his body beat up too extensively.
Right. And final thing, have you started to think about Nathan Diaz now in the last couple of days? And if so, do you have a sort of idea? How do you beat this guy? So tough. He's looked so good as of late. Does Benson Henderson know already how to beat him?
That's a good question. I don't know exactly. Have I thought about him? Absolutely. Yes, I have thought about it. Knowing who your opponent is going to be next is a good thing, I think. A lot of times champs have to sit around and wait to see, well, we got to wait to see who's next for St. Pierre because he, dominated the whole division. We don't know who's next for him. For me, 55 is stacked. It is stacked full of killers out there. So it's nice for me to know who I'm going to face next. I know it's Nate Diaz next. As far as how to beat him, I think anytime sometimes when fighters lose, there is a game plan on how to beat them. Sometimes whether it's a fluke head kick in the first 30 seconds of the fight, it's a fluke head kick. That's not the 10 out of 10 times or 8 out of 10 times that head kick wouldn't happen. But, that one time it happened and the guy gets knocked out or whatever. But again, sometimes when guys lose, there is a blueprint of how to beat a guy. You want to beat a guy, all you need to do is A, B, C. Against Nate Diaz, I think the blueprint is out there. You want to beat this guy, the blueprint is to do A, B, C. The blueprint for once the blueprint is established, then it's easy to follow. For some guys, like Anderson Silva, there is no blueprint on how to beat him. People think they know what the blueprint is. Oh, I got to do this, Chael Sonnen. You got to do this, A, B, C. But, it hasn't been proven. That's not a proven fact. This is how you beat Chael Sonnen. All you got to do is this. So that being said, Nate Diaz, there is a blueprint on how to beat him. And I think I have the tools to be able to go do that game plan, that blueprint.
All right. Well, we look forward to it. Congratulations on the big win. You can't see it now because you're on the phone, but we have crowned you. We put the belt on your round 5 toy right here. I'm holding it. Benson Henderson is the reigning and defending UFC lightweight champion. And I hope those questions were up to your standard, Benson. I'm very self-conscious about this now based on your criticism, I hope. And I think there is some breaking news. Someone just tweeted to me that the breaking news, here it is, winning fighter of controversial decision says he feels he won the decision. There you go. Breaking news. Thanks so much, Benson. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you again, and congrats.
Yeah, no problem. I'll talk soon, buddy.
All right, there he is. Smooth Benson Henderson, the reigning and defending UFC lightweight champion.